All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by saying Barakateh Hawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is just simply various topics. And pretty much it's just a few words I want to say on a video that Elder Apostle Tar did called the U.S. Space Force and the War in Heaven. And as the Elder Apostle was going through this lesson, he went through 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, and he went to a particular verse, and when he read the verse, a couple of scriptures that came to mind, and I just kind of wanted to land back off of that. And pretty much you could say it's like a couple of scriptures that link up with that scripture that he read in 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, dealing with Yahushai, the angels, the chariots, Armageddon, or the valley of Jehoshaphat, which Armageddon means mountain of the troops. Valley of Jehoshaphat is the valley of Yahweh's judgment. And I just wanted to touch on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to 2nd Ezra 13 and read that. And when I get to the verse, I'll jump to the other two precepts and close the lesson, unless the Spirit gives me a few more things to say, and I say a couple more words. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 13 and 1. And it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night. Now this was the actual vision that Ezra had concerning the end of the world. He pretty much had a vision of what we're about to enter very soon. And that is the valley of Jehoshaphat, Armageddon, the end of an age. Because when you read the scriptures give time periods of many different things. One of the things is the end of the world. But if you just read the end of the world in English or Spanish, you just read the word world or mundo, you really won't understand what is really meant by the end of the world when it's pertaining to prophecy in the scriptures. Now when we read Matthew 24 and 3, this is what the apostles, which back then were known as disciples before they became apostles, this is what they asked the Lord Yahushai. They said, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" Now when you read this for face value without any understanding, you're thinking it's talking about the end of the whole world, period. And this is why you have devils like Vocab Malone or Agent Riser that say that the Lord is going to just blow up the whole planet. He's just going to destroy the whole planet, because they have no understanding. And when we read the scriptures, we know that the earth abides forever, because the Most High created the earth for man to dwell upon. So the next thing that we should do, to get to the bottom or to the understanding of what is meant, or what were the apostles asking the Lord. Because before we read that, let's go to Acts real quick. Acts 1 and 6. He says, when they therefore were come together, meaning Yahushua with the disciples, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? So we know it's not talking about the end of the planet. It was talking about the restoration, restoring, because we had lost the kingdom. So the Lord was going to restore the kingdom back to us. So the disciples wanted to know when, or was this the time after the Lord's suffering and his resurrection, was this the time where that the Most High is going to restore the kingdom unto Israel? Because only the Israelites will benefit in the kingdom of heaven. And the Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. So when we read here what the disciples ask him, it says, when shall these things be, meaning the things that Yahushua spoke of, and what shall be the sign of thy coming? What is a token of the sign of your coming, or the symbol of your coming, and the end of the world? So what we should do is go to the word world in this scripture into the language that this was translated from. And this one was translated from the Greek, which you have other versions that were translated from the Hebrew. But in this case, we'll go to the Greek and we'll look for the word world. And when we look for the word world, there's a number here that was associated with each Greek word by Strong's, by them devils. And the word here is what? Eon. So we have the word eon for the word world. And when you search this word world throughout the New Testament and the Old Testament, there's different Hebrew and Greek words that pertain to those English words. Because in English you have one word that encompasses everything. But when you go to the original language, there are different words that were translated into the English as one word, such as the word world and the word mark, and so on and so forth. So when we look up this word world, because the disciples said, when shall be the end of that? When shall be the sign of that coming and of the end of the world? We read through here, eon. When we go to the definition, forever, an unbroken age. So what is an unbroken age? Meaning a time of rulership. So, for instance, you had the Medo-Persian Empire that ruled from about 539 AD to roughly around 333 BC or so, when Alexander the Great took them down. So from 539 BC to 330 BC, that was the world or the age of the Medo-Persian Empire. So in this time where we're reading about in Matthew 24, who was in power at that time? It was the Roman Empire that was in power. So they wanted to know, now that you went through what you went through, or now that you're about to go through what you're going through, what is going to be the sign of your coming, because you told us you're coming back, and of the end of this Roman age or this Roman world. Perpetuity of time, eternity, the worlds, which is not talking about the worlds, it's not talking about the universe, but it's talking about a period of time, age. And you have different periods of time or different ages. Okay, you have different sets of rules, meaning rulership as far as kingdoms are concerned. Some kingdoms ruled longer than others, some ruled shorter than others. Nevertheless, they were ruling. So when we look up this word world, we find out that it's eon. So when we go back and we read it, it says, what shall be this, tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and the end of this eon, or the end of this age, or the end of this rulership. Because the Roman Empire was ruling, and they were given a certain period of time to rule. They were also said, it was prophesied that they would fall, they would rise again, and go into destruction. And we're at the point now where they're going into destruction, and after they're destroyed through America, Babylon the Great, then will come the kingdom of heaven, which will be the kingdom of Yahushua / the Israelites. And of course, we don't have to mention the Most High, because he's already above everything. That goes without saying. So these are the things that the Lord told the disciples concerning the question that they asked him. And he broke it down to them, beginning from the point where they were at, to the things that were going to happen, to the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD, to his coming towards the end of the chapter. So let's go back and read 2 Ezra 13 and 3. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when we read on down, we know that this man is speaking about Yahushua, the Son of the Most High. So it says, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, which are who? The angels. It says, and when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And this is the point of the lesson. All things trembled that were seen under him, which, Lord's will, I may just change the name of this lesson from various topics to all things trembled that were seen under him. And this is the point that we want to get to, because in this vision, Ezra saw a great chariot. And he saw Yahushai, and he saw the angels coming down to fight against Esau and his military and the other nations and their military. And when you read further down, it tells you that, verse 6, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. So the ship that Yahushua was in was so huge that when Ezra saw the ship, he thought it was an actual mountain that the Lord took from the earth and actually got upon and started flying on it. Right? It says, but I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven. So he looked around to see where did this big gigantic mountain come from. What part of the earth did the Lord take this from? It says, and I could not. So he couldn't find it. Why? Because it wasn't an actual mountain. It was a ship that was so huge that it looked like a mountain. Just like when you watch the movie Independence Day, that movie that came, the ship that came out of the cloud and folded in the fire, as it explains in Ezekiel, it was a huge ship, which shows you that these devils know that Yahushua is coming back in the chariots. You know, they call them aliens, but they're really the angels. It's Yahushua and the angels coming back. All right, so this is the point that I want to get here. All the things trembled that were seen under him. So as we read through Matthew 24 again, Yahushua is breaking down all of the things that were going to happen. And when he gets to the end of this, towards the end of the vision, he gives a bunch of different tribulations that were going to happen. Some of these things happened during 70 AD, and some of these things are going to happen now. So we're at the point now at the end of this age or this world, which is run by Esau. And we know that Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And when we go and we, excuse me, when we go and we examine that scripture of, let's go here real quick. When we examine that scripture in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, just bear with me, it's just moving a little slow. 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into it in the Latin. 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse, I believe it's verse 8 or verse 7. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's go to 9, see what says it in 9, because sometimes the Latin might be a verse or two ahead or behind. Right, finis enim huis seculi is Esau. So the Esau is the end of the world. And when we look here at seculi or secular is a way of saying eon in the Latin. It says a race, generation, age. This is what we're looking for, age. The people of any time, meaning the people that are ruling at this particular age. And that's what it's talking about. So going back, when we read 2nd Ezra chapter 6, matter of fact, let's get that real quick. 2nd Ezra chapter 6. And I believe it's a verse above that, not verse 9 exactly. No, it is verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, or the end of the age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So these signs will be taking place at the very end. So when all this tribulation that Yahushua spoke of was coming to an end, and Yahushua was about to make his appearance, he says, Matthew 24:29, immediately after the tribulation of those days, what days? Everything that Yahushua spoke of, leading up to the second coming of Yahushua. Shall the sun be darkened? What is the sun in this case? It's talking about two things. It's talking about the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Esau, but it's also talking about the actual sun and moon and the stars being blacked out for a while because of the smoke from the devastation and destruction of America. It's going to be so thick that in certain parts of the world you're not going to be able to see, especially here, you're not going to be able to see the sun if you're right within, not too far from that blast. You know, if the destruction don't get you, because if you're on the soils of America, no matter where you at, from the east to the west coast, from north to south, all throughout America, Babylon the Great, you will be disintegrated into powder. And the moon shall not give her light, same thing. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Because who are the powers of heaven? The powers of heaven is Esau and the other nations, mainly Esau. And their power structure shall be shaken. Why? Because Yahushua is coming back to take his rightful place on the throne. See? Because it's his kingdom, and we are joint heirs with him. It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. So then everybody's going to see Yahushua coming through the clouds in the heavens. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And this is one of the precepts that came to mind when Elder Pastor read in the book of 2nd Ezra. Let's go back 13:3. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that was seen under him. Meaning all the people of the earth and everything. Because even the earth is going to rock to and fro like a drunkard. It says that even the birds in the heavens are going to be shaken from the vibration that the earth is going to be under. You know, this devastation. So it's going to be a very horrible, scary thing. The day of the Lord. So it says, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. Same thing as this. All things that tremble, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Because people are going to be scared. Matter of fact, another one just came to mind. Let's go to damn, I hope. Let's see. Here we go. Isaiah 13:6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. So this is the day of the Lord, this destruction, this fire, this flame, this indignation of the Lord. Yahushua and the angels also coming to add more to it. The Lord said, I'm come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? He's going to come and bring more fire. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Why? Because they're going to see this grandiose vision, which it's not going to be a vision. They're going to see this grandiose image in the heavens, which is actually Yahushua on that big ass chariot with the angels coming to fuck Esau's ass up and to deliver his elect. It says, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them from this devastation and destruction of the day of the Lord. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger. Because Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is not going to hold back to lay the land desolate. What land singular? The land of America. And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. And the point here, just you could go to, there's many points, but the main thing here is the men's hands are going to be fainting when they see these things. Same thing as in the book of Luke. Let's go to Luke 21 real quick. Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations. Why? When they see Yahushua coming with the clouds, with that big cloud and the angels with him. With perplexity, the sea and waves roaring, because they're going to be perplexed, because all their life they've been told that those are aliens, that the so-called UFOs don't exist, that this is just a hoax, that's a big trick that people are playing on people, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, the sun, moon, the stars, but it's actually true. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And we're reading the same exact thing in the book of Matthew 24. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. See, and this is what we're waiting for. So that's why all the things trembled that were seen under him. Matthew 24, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven and with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. What is it going to say? It's going to actually be the trumpets, but there's going to be a voice that say, "Come up hither." And that's to the elect of the nation of Israel to come up into the clouds, into the chariots, to be delivered and shielded from the devastation and destruction that's going to be coming upon this earth for all this wickedness. It says, and they shall see this, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the one end of heaven to the other. And the last precept that I have is in Revelation 1 and 7, which is, behold, he cometh with clouds. Who's he? Yahushai. What are the clouds? The chariots. And every eye shall see him. So everybody is going to see Yahushai when he comes to the earth. It says, and they also which pierced him, even the devils that pierced him, that actually put the nails through his hands, through his feet, and through his side, they're going to actually see him because they're alive today. And they're going to see Yahushai when Yahushai comes back. And at that moment, they're going to remember that they were the ones that pierced the Lord. And he's going to fuck them up too. It says, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so be true. So we read 2nd Ezra, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Matthew 24, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. Revelation 1 and 7, and all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. And these are all links, one with another. You know, that's what we call link-ups, link-up scriptures. You know? So pretty much, like I said, I'm going to change the name of this lesson to all the things trembled that were seen under him. So with that, you know, I pray that your brothers have been edified. And to the next time I say, Shalom. It says, and they shall see this, and angels, great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the one end of heaven to the other. And the last precept that I have is in Revelation 1 and 7, which is, behold, he cometh with clouds. Who's he? Yahushai. What are the clouds? The chariots. And every eye shall see him. So every